Welcome into the Ballin' Out Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, here with my co-host, Billy. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Just good to be back on the air, man. It's been far too long.
It has, buddy. We're gonna get back into the swing of things here. Life's kind of caught up with us and whatnot, but we're gonna get back into the swing of things here. So we're finally hitting the hardwood, man, for a change. We were on the gridiron there for a bit. I think we let that one soak in with us a little too much, though. You know, it's still resonating with them Ohio State fans and whatnot, though. They're checking out that Ballin' Out Podcast YouTube. We appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
But buddy, we're gonna talk about the Kentucky game the other night and touch on a couple other things. But we got we kind of got, I don't want to say we got whooped the other night, but Kentucky come out ready to play, and it kind of looked like we sort of, I don't know, we were having a hard time there that first half. That we couldn't have hit water if we fell out of a boat.
Well, I still think that we're playing on everybody else's level instead of our level. You know, we come out soft or playing as if because we're number one or we're the top team. We got to come out and play Tennessee basketball and start worrying about the things that we can't control.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a rough month, man. I mean, we've lost four games. We lost Florida whooped us. I mean, that game was over from the get-go.
Yeah. Yes.
Went out to Vandy. Vandy got us by a point. We lose to Kentucky, Auburn. I mean, we're not losing to bad basketball teams. That's not what we're getting at. I think Florida is at least a 2 seed in the big dance whenever it comes around, possibly a 1. Kentucky, you know what? Kentucky, they always come together about this time of the year. That's just how it is. Vandy, that's probably the worst loss. Vandy's top 25 now, so it's like, I think they may be a little bit better than we want to give them credit for.
They are a lot better than we give them credit for. You got to understand the kids that they were recruiting, man. These guys had kids on their team, you know, like, gosh, who was it? Stackhouse that was there? Stackhouse created a brand for the basketball program that we didn't give them credit for it, man. I mean, it's one of those situations kind of like how Steve Kerr got the Golden State Warriors. Had a lot of good players no one knew about. They played hard, played tough, and it's basketball, man. I mean, basketball is different from any sport that's out there. You can get beat any given time in basketball.
Well, yeah, man, absolutely. You line them up. They play the games for a reason, especially in basketball. That's a fact. One bad shooting night, and you're on the chopping block that night. You know, Auburn's good. We knew that. Honestly, though, the officiating in that game was god-awful. But, you know, at the same time, don't put yourself in a position for it to matter, and we're not talking about it. We're talking about it going the other way. So, that being said, though, man, I think our basketball team is pretty close, and I think with the transfer portal and, you know, adding who we've added, it's about time for them to start gelling, and this is the time of the year you want to do it. I mean, Kentucky, they're notorious for doing it. They usually get it together about this time every year, even under Cal. And I think you're starting to maybe see it with Arkansas just a little bit. They're sort of starting to come together because, you know, they had quite a few guys from Kentucky follow him out there. This is when you want to come together as a basketball team because you're about to go into tournament season. You want to finish the regular season strong, make that push to get in if you're a bubble team or, you know, a little bit below or right on it. And then if you're a team like us, you expect that you're already kind of put together, but we're not. I don't feel like. I feel like there's certain areas where we got to come together as a team. And last year it wasn't really a problem. This year it seems like we were talking before we come on, the offensive rebounding. That's what's killing us this year.
So we're getting beat inside a lot on offensive boards, man. And we got to get that presence, man. Like I said, where my man that left and went to Arkansas, we still had him. I think we'll be in a better situation, but it's rebounding, man. And it's a skill with rebounding. You got to put your butt on somebody, find that man to block out, and get the rebound instead of allowing offensive rebounds. Once we fix that problem and get a little bit more consistent on driving to the basket and scoring some easy shots and stop relying on a three so much, man, that's what I don't like about the new basketball. I mean, I get it. 3 points, it works, and I know they shoot them a little bit better, but I promise you, those 2 points are a lot easier than that 3 any day.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Jonas last year, he was good for 8 to 10 rebounds a game. This year, I think what's hurting us down low is Estrella not being able to play. That kid's big. He's a big body. He's getting, chances are it comes off there. He's getting after it. Last year to me, in that Purdue game in the tournament, he defended Edey pretty well. Estrella did. Edey was able to push Adu around. I don't think you're getting that I don't think you see that as much this year if we have Estrella. I think the offensive rebound, I think rebounding on both ends is a lot better, honestly. And two, we kind of mentioned it too. The offense is very similar to what we've seen. And two, kind of to say this too, in basketball, you can keep, it's not like football. You don't have to change it up all the time, but if you run a consistent offense and you run it good, there's not much to change there. It's, we got the biggest change I've seen in it this year is that high pick and roll and the lob. That seems like that's a staple this year. And that lob play, man, it's good if you can finish it, but we're not finishing it consistently.
Nope. And the reason for it is because no one does what I call a true pick anymore. It's more of a rub than a pick now. It's not like how back in the day, you're running into a brick house.
Yes.
But today's basketball, if you run into a brick house now, they're going to call an offensive foul.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy, because as long as a man has his feet set, it's supposed to be legal and legit. As long as he don't use those arms and push them out or anything like extend it, it should be a legit serious. Just a pick. But
right.
Everybody is become a little bit more softer and sensitive when it comes to the referees, how they call the game now.
Absolutely. Like 9 times out of 10, if the guy falls down on one of those screens, it's a legal pick and it's going the other way. And it's not an illegal screen. It's a physical screen. There's a difference in a physical screen and an illegal screen. You're moving on an illegal screen. A physical screen, you're just putting the guy on his ass. Like, that's just all there is to it. This year, though, this is my biggest pet peeve with this basketball team. It does not matter who it is. They keep it. They hit. Let's say we shoot 20% from three, but we're shooting 43s a game, and it's like we hit one. So, by God, let's shoot 10 more. Miss 9 out of 10, and it's like, why do you keep? They just keep throwing them up. That's what kills me. Go to the rack. We've got the guys to do it.
That's why I keep saying, man.
Go to the rack.
We got it. We got it. We got the guys to do it. We saw it at the beginning of the season before we took our first loss. They were doing everything, and I know it was probably a lower opponent, but basketball, it doesn't change. If you're on your own, if you're not, you gotta change it up and go to the basket or move in a foot or two and shoot it until you get your groove back.
Right. And like Lanier, man, Chaz, he's a good shooter. You can tell he's a good shooter. He's got the shooter's mentality. He wants to keep shooting. But it doesn't matter what level of basketball you're on. If you're playing little league to NBA, if it's just not falling, it's not falling. The good ones know how to change up their game and what to do. And I'm not saying he's not good. He's good. I just feel like they get a little too overconfident after they knock 1 or 2 down, and then they're like, okay, well, we're just going to keep shooting these the rest of the game. And it's like, no. We can either shoot ourselves into blowing somebody out or shoot ourselves into getting beat. And in our losses, we've shot ourselves into getting beat, I feel like.
And we have, because like you said, at times we'll be down 2 points, 1 point, and instead of going in and shooting an easy layup or shooting a quick shot from the top of the key or free throw line, we shoot the deep three every single time.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, it's cool when it works, but it's not when it don't. So we got some issues. Also, I feel like our rotation is smaller. We lost Cam Carr. He left. Barnes has always played, I feel like since he's been here, he's never had a real, I don't want to say real deep bench, but he's always had a 7, maybe sometimes an 8-man rotation. I don't feel like we're getting a lot of production off our bench right now either.
Well, man, I still don't think our bench is as good as we think they are based off the recruitment or where they're at. Because you don't look at it, not a lot of those guys played that much last year.
Right.
You know, and I can't blame him because of the fact, you know, we had a kid last year that was able to play the whole game without getting in foul trouble.
Right.
Dalton, he was one of those kids, you know. Of course, there were some things I can say about my man Dalton that I wish was better, but he went on and got drafted. And the part that keep making me so mad about the whole situation with Tennessee, it seems as if we didn't do anything to replace that situation. You know, I think, you know, with Chaz, I thought they was replacing him with that, but, you know, those are two different players.
Right.
You know, I don't think Chaz is doing enough to make himself separate himself to make plays other than shooting the deep ball.
Chaz is timid on the court, I feel like. Dalton's not. Dalton wasn't. He's shy, you know, and it kind of hit me the other night that he's like that whenever Barnes was like, "You're getting paid to do this. This is what you're going to do. If you don't want to do it, you can sit on the bench with me."
He has yet to sit on the bench, has he?
That's it, buddy. You know, I think though this is like we were kind of talking earlier though. This is the time of the year where we want to start seeing them kind of come together, start putting a run together. Saturday night we got Florida coming to Knoxville. We got to have it. Got to have it.
Got to have it, man. I mean, but you're talking about a very, very tough team, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Gators, I mean, now I will say this. You won't see that same Gator team that you saw in Gainesville where they didn't miss a shot, man. They were on fire. And to say this, I mean, I hate I say this, but I knew we was going to lose the game, but I didn't was going to get beat like that, man. They beat the brakes off us, man. I'm like, my tail was tucked that night.
Right. I mean, it was 30 points. Honestly, that was one that I watch them whenever they're on, of course. I mean, that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about what we watch, what we see. I quit watching it with about 7 minutes to go. I was like, we can't do nothing. Like, I mean, I hate doing that, but I was like, I got better stuff to do than watch us get smacked around right now, because that's what they did. It seems to me like in all the games that we've lost so far this year, and even the closer games that we've won, these teams come out, they've realized that if they play Tennessee physical, Tennessee don't like that. They do not like it. It's kind of like that old adage, you know, a team that presses a lot don't like to be pressed. A team that plays you physical don't like to be played physical. And it beats us just about every time, man. It seems like, you know, Illinois was one of those games I feel like we probably should have lost that game. Thank God Jordan Gainey drove it down the court and got us a layup as time expired. But teams that play us physical and get up in our kitchen, that's our kryptonite. We've got to figure out a way to beat those type of teams, because that's what you're going to get in March.
That's exactly what you're going to get in March, and that's what we got to fix. And I'm going to say it every single time. I mean, I think every game that we have actually lost this season has been because of we got out-rebounded on the offensive end. When we give up more offensive rebounds, we lose that game. And I haven't even looked at the stats yet. I guaranteed you every game that we have lost, we have gotten out-rebounded on the offensive rebounds.
Well, I'll guarantee it. I'm going to see if I can find it right now.
I guaranteed you that. I mean, because every game that we lost, I saw it. I'm like, there's no way it can be. You know, and I go back to the Auburn game. Auburn is not, I think they have Broome. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, he's not a physical guy. He's more of a finesse type of guy. We got manhandled by him. Yes, he's a good player, but I don't think he's a great player. He's
right.
Not, you know, because, yes, he can do today's NBA, but it's just, until we get back to what I call a true center mentality, I don't think Tennessee can move on to the next level. I truly think if we had a true 6'11", 265, 270.
Hog molly, son.
The ground.
Yes.
You know, that's what we're missing, I think, man, because we're getting crushed on our offensive rounds, man.
We don't have the hog molly down low that we need, you know? Okay, so did a little digging here. On the season, offensive rebounds, this is through 21 games, 272 total offensive rebounds. You divide that by the 21, we're only getting right at 13 offensive rebounds a game. We average 500. We've got 537 total defensive rebounds. That's good but it's 25 and a half per game.
Wow.
And that tells you right there, that's 12 more defensive rebounds. That's 12 less opportunities you get on the other side of the ball. You know what I mean? And that kills me too, because if you don't want to do the dirty work, chances are you're going to drop some of those closer games. And we've seen it in March way too many times. We've had teams that are very capable of making Final Four runs, and they either get put out in the Sweet 16 or round of 32. And then last year, I'm not going to give them a hard time over that Purdue game last year. I mean, Purdue's good. Purdue's good. What was good?
Purdue was. We had nothing to stop the big man. The big man.
Yeah.
That was oh God. I mean, of course, especially with all those calls we got against us that year.
Yeah. I mean, my God, Edie's still camping out in the lane. You know,
man, I just looked at the stats for the Kentucky game. We crushed them on offensive boards. We had 18 to their 8. But the rest of the
Kentucky was
lost. That's what I'm saying. Kentucky's, they're not better than us. They're not better than us. You know,
we made that game close. I feel like is turnovers. If you look at the turnovers, Kentucky had a lot more than we did, and we were able to capitalize off of them. And we missed some free throws late. It's not. That was just one of those games. I think Kentucky shot well. They had a good game plan for us, and we just kind of we see this too a lot. I feel like, and I've noticed it in particular under Rick Barnes. We go through lulls in games where we go 3, 4, sometimes 5 and 6 minutes without hitting a shot from the field. You know, you can't do that. We cannot do that.
We can't do that. I mean, man, I told you the problem is we shoot too many threes, man.
Yes.
Yes. We're losing. Let's go get some points, man. Let's get fouled. Let's get to the line.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean,
God. I mean, heck, I'm looking at the Kentucky stats right here, man. Kentucky shot 50% for the whole game, and that's amazing.
Yes,
we shot 34%. And you're talking about Tennessee shot 22 more shots than Kentucky did. We were 25 of 72. 45 of those shots were threes. 11 of 45. 24%.
Yeah.
Kentucky was what? 12 of 24. 50%. It's hard to lose like that. I mean, and we kept shooting the three, man.
It is
shooting the three. Even the Auburn game, the last play of the game with that much time on the clock, we draw up a play for a three. Like, we got enough time to at least try to tie the game up, get right, go to the line, get a quick shot. Like, that's something I don't like about college, or when we're down or whatever, we run the time down to 1 second before we shoot the shot.
Right.
Let's go try to shoot the shot. We miss the shot. Hopefully we get an offensive rebound. If we don't, we still get a chance to foul them. They miss it. We can come back down and get another chance. Right.
That's one thing, too, that I've noticed. A lot of times Barnes will let it play out, especially at the end of the game. I know I've kind of been critical of him during this episode. I love Barnes. I think he was the best hire we could have made. He's brought a lot of stability here. He's done so many good things since he has been here. I feel like he's underachieved while he's been here, though, on the back end of it. At the front end of it, he was doing exactly what he needed to do. But, yeah, man, I mean, looking at this, it's just like, it kills me, man. It kills me because you miss 5 free throws, which, missing 5 free throws isn't bad. But you'd like to see that 70% be about 80, But then you got Kentucky. They shot 67% from the free throw line.
Exactly. That's the part of the game that you got to capitalize on those free throws, man. I mean, even when I came out when I playing basketball, free throws was a give me, I don't care if you're tired or not. If you're tired, shoot off the backboard, make the shot.
That's it.
Let's just make it. I'm not saying that it's easy to make free throws or anything like that. It's still a skill, but it's still what is called free for a reason.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Point. And I'm not saying that we can't do that, but I think we're more capable of being a better free throw team shooting. But the problem is with that, I think we don't shoot enough free throws because we're not getting to the basket, getting fouled. We're shooting too many threes.
That was one
fouled on a 3-point shot.
Right. And that's another thing. It seems like we foul a 3-point shooter sometimes once, twice a game almost. And it's like, you're giving them 3 easy ones. Like, make them shoot the 3 ball. If they hit it, they hit it. I'll tell you right now, whenever of course, granted it's not college basketball, but I always used to tell my kids, anything outside that 3-point line, let them have it. I mean, you put a hand in their face, but, don't chase them out there. You got to chase now, though. Of course, in college, obviously, it's a lot different, but you've got to, if you've got a guy or 2 guys on the other team that can shoot the 3 ball and hit it consistently, you've got to chase them off the 3-point line. And, I mean, honestly, man, it's at the point now where if you watch during these games, if Meshack gets the ball at the 3-point line, they don't even go out and guard him. They're just like, let him shoot it. If he hits it, he hits it. Because they know he'll take the shot. And it's like, you can't, if you're not, if they're giving you that, they're giving you that for a reason. Because you're not going to hit it 9 times out of 10. And I love Meshack. I love the way that kid plays the game. But he is no longer the best 3-point shooter on the team by a percentage. That's like, that was a joke I had going last year. He's the best 3-point shooter on the team. Had the highest 3-point shot percentage, made 3-point shot percentage on the team last year, but he also had like 12 on the year. So it's like, okay. But that, and I feel like, kind of to your point too, we're not shooting enough free throws, but at the end of the game too, whenever it's, close, we're letting I feel like we waste a lot of time and we don't try to extend the game by fouling. Like, you see those closer games, they, 2 or 3 trips up the court in the last minute instead of, making them go down and hit 7, 8 free throws to put you away. You're giving them 2 or 3 opportunities, and it seems like most of the time they make the most of those opportunities, and we're having to go down. That's why we're having to go down and jack up 3 or whatever. We just got, there's a lot that can be fixed. There's a lot of good to say about them too. They still have the toughness, but I don't feel like they use it the way they should. Go to the rack, drive to the rack. Zakai, man, he's great at getting to the rack. He's just got, I wish he had about 2 more inches of height on him though.
Well, that's not going to happen.
No. I wish he could play on stilts. That'd be great, wouldn't it? But, man, got Florida coming to town Saturday evening, I think. I don't know the exact time. Let me see here. I know it's Florida coming to town.
No, it's Friday, 1:00 game, I think.
It's a noon game. But, man, this is our next stretch of games, buddy. It's Florida coming to town, Missouri coming to town. We got to go to Oklahoma. Then we got to go to Kentucky, Vandy, at Texas A&M, and then at LSU. 5 of our next 7 games are against top 25 opponents.
All of our games are going to be like that now because the SEC is loaded, man.
It is, man.
I keep forgetting that Oklahoma and Texas is part of it now. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, man, they're forgettable. Horns down. But, it's like we really got to get it together and got to get it together quick. We need to string some of these wins on, string them together here because I'm sure we were probably picked to win the SEC this year, and we could be looking at, 4th or 5th. Of course, it's top heavy though, man. Like you got Auburn, you got Florida now, Kentucky will sneak in there. I'd say the top 4 coming out of the SEC will be us, those 3 and Auburn. I mean, it's hard to bet otherwise. The tournament's going to be fun. The SEC tournament's going to be fun. It's going to be tough.
I mean, we're in a good situation, man. I mean, like, I get it. We want to be at the top of the SEC, but sometimes that seeding in the tournament can help you out big time.
Well, look at last year. Mississippi State whooped us in the first round.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to play some of those teams like that because you got, like, for instance, Mississippi State. No one thought that Mississippi State would be as good as they are today. Mississippi State is good. They're competing. They're playing some great ball. Like, and luckily, Alabama shot well last night because Mississippi State should have won that game.
Yeah. Well, and that's another team you can't count out, man. Alabama, and we got them at the end of going into March. I mean, it's just They play the same kind of ball we play. Mark Sears is good, man. He's good.
Yeah, bro. You're talking about, this might be the first time that Tennessee and Alabama have two teams that are pretty quality teams that's going to play some good ball this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you still got Memphis. Memphis still got a pretty good team out there, but gosh, Vandy they're playing good ball this year, man.
They're tough, man. I mean, and they beat us by a point out there, but historically we've always had a hard time going out there to win and winning. That's a weird gym to play in.
I've never liked that gym, man. With the floor down like that, you got to step down on the floor and step up to the floor, and the way the benches are on each end of the court.
Yeah. It's a weird setup.
Weird, man. Like, I've never understood how they can even shoot in that gym, man. That would be just hard.
Different. Yeah. It's different. It's way different. I thought they were smart out there. That's just that they're supposed to be.
I think they did that just to be different, though, and you can't knock it. I like it. I like it, but I like the whole theory of it.
Right. But yeah, man, like you look at our schedule here. We just went through the February schedule. Then we close out with Alabama coming to Knoxville, go to Ole Miss, and then we get South Carolina. We get a I ain't gonna call it a gimme at home because South Carolina seems like they got our number on the basketball court. We close out with South Carolina, and we need to go at least 8-2, 7-3 during that. And
we need to go undefeated with that because we're if you go look at where we're located in the SEC right now. Let's see, let me go back over here just to see it, just because it is. We are basically in the middle of the pack here. We're behind Kentucky by half a game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, South Carolina, they're dead last. But you have a couple of teams here that could surprise you. Texas, they've got a lot of bad beat this year. They could easily be undefeated right now.
Last night was one. They were in that game, and they got beat. They dropped one to Ole Miss last night by 3.
As
OU.
That's what's been happening to them all season. And see, and then you got the sneaky Missouri team.
Yes.
No one's talking about them, but they're silently at the top of the standings right now.
Yeah. And then, you got Alabama up there too. We've got a chance here these last few games. I'm with you. If we can go undefeated through that streak right there, through these next 10, 11 games, that'll go a long way. But right now, man, like you said, we're sitting middle of the pack, 500 on a 2-game losing streak. And the good news is, though, everybody that is ahead of us right now, we have to play.
Yes. And that's what's going to help us. You go look at who else was it I was thinking about? Oklahoma.
Yeah, they're right there too, man. They're a couple places below us. That's game and a half back from us.
10 SEC schools that has 5 or less losses.
Yeah. Let's see here. 12-8 is like the bottom of the barrel for the SEC right now. South Carolina 10-11, whatever. But realistically, the SEC could have 12 to 14 teams in the NCAA tournament.
Well, they will.
I would say at least 10. Because, something's going to happen here at the end of the year. Some of these teams on the back end will fall off. But I'd say 10 to 12, over, under. I'd take over 10. I'd take under 13.
I truly think you're right there. And that's the reason why a lot of these teams have moved to the SEC, man, which I don't understand, especially with Texas and Oklahoma. I still, to this day, was trying to figure out why did they want to move to the SEC when they're already in a conference that you said it right, because there is a lot of money, especially with the TV deals.
Yeah. And, and they were part of it back in the old days, way back when. But, man, that's we could do a whole show on what we think's going to happen with all these conferences and conference realignment and this, that, and the other. But the SEC, man, adding those 2 teams and taking let's just call it what it is. Historically, the two best Big 12 teams, and adding it back into the SEC, that made it just that much deeper. The SEC was always deep, but especially top to bottom basketball wise, it's the most deep league in the country.
It is.
Football, I think in football, I mean, this year, think about it. This is the first year, the SEC's not won it in a long time.
Long time, but it will be back on track next year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's just I think NIL on the football level has evened the playing field so much that you're not, these top tier SEC programs aren't getting all the top talent. They're still getting a lot of it, but they're not getting it all. And money coming into it, it's just made it a lot easier to even that playing field. So, yeah, eventually I think it'll catch up to basketball to that point. But right now, football, NIL is king in football.
Yeah. It won't change, man. It will not change unless they just do away with the NCAA. It's not changing.
I think eventually that's coming. I think that lawsuit we had with them this year over certain issues, I think that was the beginning of the end of it. You know what I mean? It'll take it a few years before it is disbanded, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think if that happens, there'd be a lot of football programs that would end.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would. I think it would take a lot of your smaller programs that we play on homecoming and stuff like that. I think it'd take them out of the game.
Yeah, because like you're seeing, instead of having these, the Alabama playing like the USCs, or you won't see that anymore. You see just them playing the way you always see. The first two games will be two cupcakes, and any non-conference game will be a cupcake team.
Right. Well, not much would change for Alabama then, would it? Oh man, buddy, let's put a bow on this one, and we'll be back here later on this week, recap that Florida game. But I'm glad we got back on here to talk some basketball, man. It's been a hot minute. I'm glad to see you.
Most definitely, man. I'm just glad we back into it, and let's keep this thing going, man. I miss it, man. It's too much fun not to do it.
Absolutely, man. We've talked about a couple things. We've got some ideas of, do some live shows and whatnot. We're gonna start dusting it off and getting out here and getting more involved. So we'll end this one how we always end it, though, with a big old Go Vols, and looking forward to the next episode, buddy.
Let's go Vols, baby.